In everyday life, we often face difficult situations and deal with difficult people. The ancient Stoics had a cool trick for staying calm in the midst of chaos. Imagine that you have mental armor that protects you from negativity. Sounds fantastic. In fact, it is a practical strategy that is still relevant today. Whether it's a tough boss, annoying acquaintances, or energy-sapping people, Stoicism will help you not just survive, but thrive. In this video, we'll look at how to apply Stoic principles to live a calmer, more resilient, and freer life. If you feel weighed down by negativity or want some peace in this hectic world, this video is for you. Be sure to watch this video to the end. Like, subscribe to the channel, share with friends. Let's begin. Daffodils. Do you know the feeling when someone constantly puts himself above everyone else, is not interested in other people's opinions, and lives only for himself? This is exactly the kind of behavior we encounter when dealing with narcissists. We will look at how, with the help of Stoicism, we can learn not to react to their manipulations and maintain inner peace. Combating the narcissist's inflated self-perception involves the Stoic practice of seeking the truth without malice. Narcissists often put up a facade of superiority to hide their vulnerabilities. Instead of directly confronting the narcissist, gently challenge their stories by being curious and non-judgmental. Simple questions like, "How did you come to this conclusion?" invite you to think about the authenticity of their statements. Stoicism helps us maintain inner peace, knowing when to engage in conversation and when to retreat. Distanced curiosity allows them to get to the bottom of the truth without directly challenging their self-perception. Gentle, reflective inquiry consistent with Stoic principles can gradually deflate grandiose notions. By challenging the narcissist's idealized self from a position of diminishing its importance, you may find that its influence over you is weakened, allowing you to look at the situation more objectively. This approach is consistent with mindfulness when interacting with a narcissist reflects wisdom, courage, justice, and restraint. Confronting the idealized self is a compassionate search for truth that provides an indirect opportunity for self-reflection and growth. This not only protects your peace of mind, but also potentially contributes to the personal development of the narcissist. It is also important when interacting with a narcissist to protect your mental space by controlling your reactions. In the realm of Stoicism, a powerful lesson unfolds. While we cannot control external events or the actions of other people, we have absolute control over our inner world, our thoughts, reactions, and emotions. This principle becomes especially powerful when we are confronted with destructive behavior from a narcissist that may seem like a direct threat to our peace of mind. Let's consider a typical scenario. The narcissist tries to provoke or upset you with words or actions. The instinctive reaction may be retaliation or conflict. However, Stoicism offers an alternative path, the path of calm, detachment, and inner peace. Choosing to control your reactions is not about suppressing or denying your feelings, but about recognizing them and then consciously making a decision about how to react. This may include pausing, breathing, and reflecting before responding. It may even mean deciding not to respond at all. The main thing you must understand is that your strength is in your reaction. You are not at the mercy of a whim or a narcissist. You become a pervert of your mental space. Mastering this strategy takes practice and awareness. It's about developing an acute awareness of the emotional triggers and patterns that influence your reactions. Make a commitment to observe your thoughts and feelings without reacting to them immediately. Stoic exercises such as journaling or meditative reflection will be invaluable in allowing you to step back and look at a situation rationally rather than emotionally. By refusing to play the narcissist's game and choosing calm and detachment instead of involvement, you embody stoic virtue, freedom from passions, not a lack of feeling, but a lack of worry. It is maintaining equanimity in the face of provocation. This approach is not about avoiding provocations. This is an active conscious position declaring, I am the master of my soul, the keeper of my peace. This is a declaration of independence, the return of power to oneself and the pursuit of well-being. Adopting this strategy protects us from the negative impact of the narcissist's behavior while promoting greater self-awareness and resilience. The ability to calmly navigate the world becomes a skill, a reminder that our inner world is not criminal. It is the absolute freedom to choose your reactions, live according to your principles, and remain calm despite difficulties. Let's remember that we have the ability to protect our mental space, control our reactions, and live with dignity, calm, and strength. This is not just a tactic for dealing with narcissists, it is a blueprint for living a smart, virtuous life. Toxic people. Do you know the feeling when communicating with someone literally drains your energy? This happens when you encounter truly toxic people. To prevent their poison from poisoning your life, sometimes the only way out is to minimize communication with such individuals or completely exclude them from your circle. But even if you can't avoid meetings, Stoicism will help create the necessary distance and maintain your mental health. Imagine that you live in the same house with a person who started a fire and smoke is coming out of it. As long as the fire is under control and the smoke is tolerable, you see no reason to leave. But what will you do when the smoke becomes unbearable? Will you stay in or will you leave? Think about the circle of people in your life, friends, colleagues, or family. They can be rejuvenating, loving, and inspiring, or they can drain you with their chronic criticism, control, and narcissism. Toxic relationships corrupt, pollute, infect, corrupt, and destroy good character. When bad incidents accumulate, the idea of commitment loses credibility. We begin to see a person not from our personal point of view, not from the point of view of his authority or power in our lives, but from the point of view of who he is and the situation as it is. We also need to realize that there is a limit that we must tolerate and adhere to. Epictetus's extensive collection of recorded lectures, discourses, makes a simple comparison to a house with smoke in it. Someone is complaining, "Give me a smoke-free house." But such an ideal home does not exist. It's the same with people. We cannot change others and force them to live up to our expectations. If there is a toxic person nearby, there is no use in complaining. Instead, Epictetus advises focusing on what is in our control. We can choose our reaction and attitude towards a situation. Don't demand the impossible, but do your best. Then the smoke from toxic people will not be able to poison your mind. There is an opportunity to leave. If yes, then we can walk through that door and never look back at any time. When people hurt us, we may indulge in various fantasies of revenge. If someone has wronged us by committing an injustice, don't we feel justified in seeking revenge? Living in a toxic relationship can fuel these feelings for years. As Epictetus said, anyone who can anger you becomes your master. He can only make you angry when you allow him to bother you. Thus, not only do you continue to experience countless boundary violations, but you also waste your energy searching for what is beyond your control. It is natural to want a reaction of remorse, acceptance, and perhaps an apology when people hurt us. But when you're dealing with toxic individuals, none of this is likely to happen, no matter what you do. Epictetus presents a different perspective on the futility of revenge. Essentially, he considers revenge unnecessary and harmful to oneself because the person who wronged you in the first place violated his own virtue, which, according to the Stoics, is the only true and good thing. Thus, if someone wrongs you or wrongs you unjustly, they have harmed themselves because they have undermined their own virtue. Do you like to teach and control? Many of us are familiar with the situation when loved ones are overprotective and try to control our every move. Children especially often face this in relation to their parents. Of course, excessive criticism and nagging from family members can be painful. Sometimes it seems that they see only flaws in us. But should we focus only on their negative manifestations? The great Stoic Epictetus called for a broader view of people. Everyone has not only weaknesses, but also advantages. Even the most complex person is not one-dimensional. Let's follow the wisdom of Epictetus and try to find more in the people who control us than their obsessive behavior. Perhaps behind the external harshness lies genuine care and love. And then Stoicism will help maintain good relations with them. Epictetus spoke about a lesson based on tolerance, which shows that all things, including people, have more sides than just their bad traits. Epictetus was talking to a student who was experiencing difficulties with a brother who often acted unfairly, whether towards him or others. He gave him the following advice: everything has two handles, one by which you can carry it, and the other by which you cannot. If your brother acts unfairly, do not take him by the handle of his injustice. Take him by the handle of the fact that he is your brother, that you were brought up with him. Don't take on a role that goes against nature. In many cases, a change of perspective makes a big difference, especially when we are alone with our thoughts. We tend to exalt the negative aspects of people, turning them into the main villains who wreak havoc around us. The pen, as Epictetus called it, becomes more significant than the person to whom it is attached. So it helps to just focus on the other side of the person, because there is so much more to them than just being a complex person. Perhaps there are complementary aspects that can support the connection, another handle to grab onto. However, there are situations so bad that no pen can handle it. Of course, care is not always hidden behind external harshness. Sometimes people just tend to nitpick and lecture without good reason. In such cases, it is important to remember that we cannot control the behavior of others, but we do have the power to choose our own response. Instead of getting irritated or arguing, try to maintain inner calm. Imagine that the words of criticism slide through your consciousness without touching it. You can mentally put on an impenetrable armor of Stoic principles. Let the criticism bounce off him without causing harm. It is also useful to ask the question, is what the critic is saying really true? Perhaps there is a rational grain in his statements that needs to be paid attention to, but it may also be that this is just his personal opinion, which does not need to be listened to. The main thing is to maintain inner equanimity. Only control your emotions and reactions, and then no critics will be able to shake your calm. Difficult people, even great personalities, have faced the problem of difficult people. For example, the Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius, rightfully considered one of the wisest rulers in history. Imagine his situation. He headed a huge empire, and many destinies depended on his decisions. At the same time, many envied his power and influence. There were always greedy and unprincipled people nearby. How to maintain calm and clarity of mind in such conditions? Marcus Aurelius found the answer in the philosophy of Stoicism. He kept a diary where he recorded his thoughts. He wrote about courage in difficult times, the meaning of life, human nature, and, not surprisingly, how to deal with difficult people. Let us give an interesting example from his thoughts. Marcus Aurelius says, "Don't be annoyed by people's bad odors or bad breath. What's the point? Yes, these people have mouths and armpits that smell, but are they to blame for the way their body works? We also have a mind. Let's use it to understand people are not always aware of their shortcomings. We can point out the problem to them, but we shouldn't expect them to fix everything instantly. The idea is that we cannot control other people's behavior. Marcus Aurelius realized that even as an emperor, he did not have complete power over his subjects. As we have probably already seen from our own experience, the people around us have their own brain, their own will, and freedom of action. We cannot control the habits and manners of others. Even if they do something wrong, it is their choice. Therefore, following Stoicism, it is wiser to focus on yourself, on maintaining inner peace no matter what. Let everyone live and act as they see fit, and we will try to treat this philosophically and without unnecessary worries. In the end, we are only responsible for our own thoughts and feelings. Also, when dealing with difficult people, you should think about showing kindness. Stoicism, like a superhero's handbook for life, teaches us to be good superheroes. Imagine that you are dealing with a difficult person. Instead of using superpower, the Stoics suggest using super kindness. Imagine trying on their shoes, not to justify their actions, but to understand where they might be struggling. It's about becoming the superheroes of kindness, showing compassion while setting clear boundaries. Think of this person as a character in the story and yourself as a superhero of understanding. Instead of simply reacting to his actions, study his history. What problems or insecurities might be behind their behavior? Seneca, the wise Stoic, once said that wherever there is a person, there is opportunity for kindness. This is not about justifying harmful actions, but about recognizing that everyone has their own problems. Like a Stoic superhero, show kindness by understanding but not allowing their actions to affect your well-being. By doing so, you not only set boundaries, but also embody the Stoic virtue of compassion and empathy. Rude people. Epictetus suggests focusing on keeping your mind calm and in control. We can treat, for example, public transport in the same way. Do trips on public transport always go smoothly? Are there always free places for everyone? And are people always friendly and nice? Do trains and buses always run on schedule without exception? Any person will most likely admit that in reality this is not so. On the contrary, there are many unpleasant aspects such as noisy, smelly and antisocial people who are always looking for attention, taking up other people's space and using their mobile phones on speakerphone in crowded trains or buses. How do Stoics deal with this? When you board a bus, expect the possibility of delays, and when you board a train, expect to encounter unfriendly people, unpleasant passengers, numerous street vendors and a few beggars, depending on the situation. Another wise lesson from the Stoics when dealing with rude people is to accept the idea that everything in life is temporary. Think of a difficult situation as a bend in a river. Instead of trying to control the flow, embrace the Stoic idea that change is constant. Your peace of mind is like a fortress that no one can disturb without your permission. Like the Stoics, you have the ability to choose how to respond to difficult situations, staying strong through difficult times and creating a life of peace and resilience. The strength you need is already within you. You just need to nurture it. If you liked what we talked about today, consider subscribing, sharing this video with someone who might benefit from it, and giving it a thumbs up. Your support will help us share these valuable lessons with more people seeking guidance and strength. Thanks, and until next time.